Hey Nando, thank you so much for your time again. We spoke a lot about AI previously. I'm actually really curious. When you talk about the future being augmented and autonomous, what do you mean by that?
So what I mean is that at first, a lot of the AI will require still human intervention. That's why we call augmented. So you interact with the AI system or the agent, and the agent gives you back a recommendation or an answer, and then you query again. That's augmentation. So it makes your job better because you're getting more faster from the machine that is finding, the AI system that is finding more information that it will take you a long time to do otherwise, right? Autonomous is when the machine does it on its own. So an AI agent predicts that you're gonna be asking something or the next 2-3 questions you're gonna answer and figures out a way to answer that together with other agents. I don't know if you guys know when Armstrong actually landed in the moon, there was an autonomous system in place and the computer failed just seconds before he had to land. So, and then the question was, do we stop, abort, or do we continue? They went back and forth. If you miss the window, no landing in the moon, right? He had prepared also to do it by himself if needed. And they decided to override the systems, and the autonomous landing of the moon did not happen. It was Neil Armstrong really landing it on its own. So it's the same concept, right? You can't trust the machine to guide you and do everything for yourself like most airplanes. Think of that way. How often do you need to provide input versus the system knowing the task and figuring out a way to get there, right? I think that would be the difference.
Since we're talking about AI, autonomous AI as well as augmented AI, we're just wondering in the next 3 to 5 years, what are the business function or job function that will be completely transformed with this new innovation?
Well, I think all jobs are going to be transformed. If you are in R&D or in auto, you're in product design, it helps you tremendously in reduce the time from design to execution of the product. If you're in pharma, it helps you come to with a drug earlier than you will have otherwise, right? Most of the COVID vaccines, many people don't know that AI was involved in figuring out how to create so quickly. I think any job that requires creativity, it will be enhanced and augmented. Any job that is repetitive and not very creative, those are the ones that are a higher risk of substitution. How do we move those resources to do something else and ensure that the transition is as good as possible?
I think a lot of people are very excited as to the new transformations that AI may bring, but definitely there are some people who are also concerned in terms of the challenges as well as disruptions that AI may bring to the organizations. So in your perspective, do you think that the government and institutions are prepared, and do they have the necessary skills to thrive and succeed in this new era of AI?
It's a very good question, right? Because this transformative technology or innovation will not take place unless everybody, people have a reason to be worried. We have all watched the movies, Terminator, Skynet, becoming, self-aware and doing their own thing. All of these things are what autonomous AI will allow you to have, right? So all of these things are real. There are tons of ethical questions that need to be addressed and also guardrails, right? AI will not succeed unless it's ethical and is, you can responsible, right? You can find a way to make a responsibility just like anything else we've done in society. And the good news is that there are many people that feel and think the same and are working towards that, right? So from think tanks to universities, to governments, but also companies like us. We have a very clear definition. Even before we are launching products on AI, we already have an AI ethics, responsible AI approach to the business. There's always the challenge between speed to market versus ethical and responsibility. I do think in this case, the good balance of the two is required to be sure that this is successful.
Nando, I think you raised a lot of valid concerns that a lot of organizations have, not just for AI, but also for autonomous AI. What do you think is the biggest misunderstanding that they have about autonomous AI?
It's just like in movies on science fiction, people think that just these things will start behaving, go rogue on their own, stuff like that. In the end, humans have created, there's guardrails that are established when you design these things. And yes, there's situations where you see things happening that were not expected, and we learn from them, and typically they are done in a way that's still, if not lab stage, early adoption stage, to learn from it. So you learn from the errors. You just have to set up the process to avoid as much as possible those errors. And I think with AI, that's going to be something that we all stakeholders need to put a sign in. And I think it's very good when somebody, to the point you were raising before, raises a concern. Let's listen to that. It's the moment to listen, and then, okay, it's a valid concern. Let's do something about it that we can all benefit, because this is here to stay. The next few decades are going to be driven by AI, so we better get it right.
Thanks, Nando. Those were really great insights. I think we learned so much about augmented and autonomous AI. Thank you so much, Nando.